3D saddles, are they worth it? Hello and welcome back. 3D printed saddles seem to be all the rage at the moment, and they seem to command a serious price hike over their traditional counterparts. So what we want to explore in this video is, are 3D printed saddles worth it? Are they worth the increase in price? Is there any difference in terms of overall perceived comfort, and any difference in terms of the pressure distributed through the saddle? We're going to use some pressure mapping. We're going to try and find out. Today we've got Dan. He's one of our bike fitters.
You're right.
Dan's a die-hard road cyclist. He's been riding for many, many years. Started working with us here as a bike fitter the last few years. He comes from a PT background. Book a bike fit with Dan. There's going to be a link in the description below. Dan's helping us today to explore whether these saddles are going to be worth it or not. So we've brought in a selection of saddles. Basically all of these saddles, pretty much apart from the Fizik here, are from our demo drawer. But we've gone out and we've got the 3D equivalents of the saddle that we have. We're going to start off by pressure mapping the traditional saddle, and then we're going to see how it changes when we try the 3D printed saddle. All at the same time as getting some feedback from Dan as to whether it's more comfortable or not. First off, we've got a specialized Romin Evo, 143mm width. The specialized power, again, 143mm width. My personal favorite, Selle Italia SLR Boost S3, so 130mm width. And a Fizik Aliante Tempo, 145mm wide, as well as their 3D printed counterparts. So let's get to it. Let's do the Romin. I rode up Vontu on the saddle. First up, specialized Romin. This was a favorite of mine for a very long time. It's got decent sized pressure relief channels. Some of these saddles are slightly different. I mean, the power and the Selle Italia are fairly similar, and I guess come to think of it, the Aliante and this are also fairly similar in the sense that they're not pan flat, nice rounded profile. So let's get the pressure mat on. All right, Danny boy, let's have a look.
Feels wide at the back. Doesn't feel that supportive. Can you put the resistance up one?
Yeah, mate. So how's this feel compared to the Burke?
Yeah, quite a bit wider, obviously.
Yeah.
Feels like I've got too much going on at the back, under my sit bones.
Yeah.
A bit too wide at the back, for me.
Dan rides a Burke Lupina short fit, 130mm saddle. It's quite a narrow saddle. So we've got a little bit of a hot spot on the right-hand side, but I mean, to be honest with you, that doesn't look too bad. If you're new to the channel, the numbers are microbars, they're barometric pressure, and what we're looking for in a saddle interaction usually is 2 roundels of pressure here, and not a great deal through the nose. A little bit of a hot spot there on the nose. The premise of today's videos was to explore whether or not this pressure is going to reduce, or is it going to dissipate by fitting a 3D printed equivalent? So this is why when you're experimenting with saddle, you should always measure the saddle height first and ensure that you're putting the saddle back in the same place. By changing to this 3D printed saddle, we've increased the saddle height by over 1 centimetre. Mental, that. I'm genuinely interested in what the outcome of this is going to be.
Better.
Is it?
Yeah, it's actually better, yeah.
Why?
Don't feel like I want to move as much on it.
Okay.
Feels a bit more stable.
All right, good. Wow. Look at that. That's awesome.
No way.
Well done, Specialized. The pressure has halved. That's a huge difference. That's mental.
It does feel better.
You've still got the imbalance. We'd sort of expect that. We wouldn't expect the interaction to change. Specialized, you're winning so far. Something that I've always liked about these saddles is that they kind of chamfer off, and because it's less flat from left to right, it can be conducive to kind of putting less pressure through the skeleton. Theoretically, I mean, I don't think these are the same shape. I think they're slightly different. It's interesting that Dan was so much more comfortable on the 3D printed one.
It's just interesting how people would get that wrong, the 3D saddle, how different the height is.
Let's put a Fizik on there. All right, so this is, as I say, this is a similar shape. Right, away you go.
Feels wider. Probably feels like more pressure.
Okay.
Than the Specialized Does it feel even? Maybe not quite. Not bad though.
Do you feel like you engage with one side a bit more than the other?
Yeah, left. Feels like I rock to the left a bit more on this one.
I mean, it's still pretty good. I think with the Aliante, there's like a bit of a hot spot on that nose for some reason. I mean, that could be because of the width. Am I right in saying it's also not uncomfortable though?
No, it's fine, yeah.
Feels all right.
Yeah, does feel like you want to fall forward, yeah.
Does it?
Yeah. Doesn't want to hold you back like the other one did.
It's interesting because they're so similar in terms of the shape. Maybe saddles are more subjective than I think they are. All right, job off, dude. Let's try the 3D printed one. I'm gonna eat my words. I need to explain something about this video because I had a Selle Italia 3D printed saddle and I absolutely hated it. I found it awful because I could feel the 3D printing kind of texture right literally through the chamois. And that's kind of what gave rise to this idea of, you know, are these things really worth the money? But I think, you know, initial feedback seems that, you know, maybe they are, especially if you buy the Specialized one. I feel like I have to give Specialized something back after all over their shoes and their saddles for years and years. Same with Fizik. Thanks to Dean at Extra UK for loaning us these saddles. Is that better as well?
Not much in it, but I'd say it's better.
Better
than this version, yeah.
Yeah.
But still similar, very similar. Doesn't feel as different compared to the Specialized.
Right, okay. So it feels more similar to its traditional kind of counterpart.
Yeah, pretty similar.
All right.
It feels a bit more unstable, actually.
Yeah. Further to what you were just saying, it seems to have put the pressure more onto the nose. It's run the pressure further forward as well. I mean, this, to be honest, this could just be down to the shape, the difference in the shape. The left-right balance seems better. In fact, the left-right balance is better on both of them than it was on the other saddles. With this 3D printed option, we've got an increase in nose pressure, so that's not necessarily a good thing.
I had this saddle before and it made me want to always sort of rock forward.
Really?
And that's why I took it off, yeah.
So I would say Fizik, less of a change really, isn't it? Yeah. From the traditional to the 3D printed. All right, cool. Jump off again for me. Let's try my my Selle Italia, my little favourite one. Right. Have you ridden a Boost before?
No, I'm actually interested about this.
See what you think.
Definitely notice it's more narrow.
Yeah.
Feels good though. Feels like I'm sitting further back than I was on Fizik.
Yeah.
Which I like. Yeah, don't feel as much on the front.
How's it feel compared to your Burke?
Not a million miles away.
So we've still got a little bit of a hot spot there on the nose, but left-right balance don't get much better than that. What I find really interesting though is how the microbar pressure is the same on this as it was on the 3D printed Specialized Romin. Now I am really interested in what happens next with the 3D printed Selle Italia. This was my saddle, it came off my moots. Yeah, I really did not get on with it. All right, man, try that for me.
Better.
Yeah? Stop it!
It does feel better. It feels probably the best so far.
Really? This is the best one so far?
I'd say so.
Like, look at that!
Yeah, it does feel like that.
That's the best pressure mat result so far as well. We're reasonably well distributed.
Yeah, I like that. I'd say that's better than the Burke.
My arse is probably a little bit too sensitive. It's taken a pounding over the years, so. How interesting. Something Dan and I were just discussing off camera is that perhaps these 3D printed saddles are worth, you know, the increase in cost. The whole premise of 3D printed products is that they're cheaper and more repeatable to produce. So I've never really understood why a 3D printed saddle is so much more expensive than a traditionally made saddle. But what we're finding out from doing this video is that it doesn't really matter, they're better. Right. Try that.
Horrible. Just already feels like I want to move to get comfortable and move forward. It just feels too wide, and I just want to fall forward onto the nose. No support. So I can feel my sit bones rocking. The only one that makes me feel like, yeah, I've got more weight in the hands and tension in the shoulders.
This is pretty damning, so all of the pressure now is in the nose. This backs up exactly what we've been talking about with the power for years, in that, you know, because of the shape of it, because it's so wide, it tends to kind of force the rider onto the nose, which of course, it's a nose of the saddle, so that doesn't really yield a huge amount of support. Let's see if the 3D printed version yields anything. Some eagle-eyed viewers at home might see me playing with the level on this. That's because the rails on different saddles are different in the same way that the depths are different. We're having to adjust it every single time to get the middle of the saddle more or less level, because almost all of these saddles are kind of, they've got a bit of a scoop in the middle of them, which is it's the middle third you're usually looking to get level. Last and final one. All right, try that, mate.
Feels the same but softer. It feels exactly what I don't want out of a saddle, to be honest. I feel like I'm sitting on the nose. I don't feel like I'm sitting on my sit bones, and yeah, it just feels unstable.
Okay. Viewers at home, this is Andy Fenn. Book a Bikefit with Andy.
Feels like, yeah, just try and sit at the back of the saddle. I just don't want to sit there. It's like I just want to come forward.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel comfortable I'd be constantly thinking about my position on the saddle.
Something to mention here is that Dan's very well placed to be giving us feedback on the saddle interaction here, because he knows what it should feel like. Rather unsurprisingly, we've got, if anything, I don't know, it's more pressure, look. In the case of the power,
Throw it away.
actually, in the bin, the 3D printed is worse.
Horrible.
I mean, what have we learnt here?
Don't buy power.
Yeah, don't buy power. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so that's it. After all this pressure mapping, Dan's got it bang right. Just don't buy power. And the best one, and you reckon the best one so far has been?
The Selle Italia 3D.
The one that I hated. That's mental.
But then the second, yeah, the normal Selle Italia, and then the Romin.
So if you had to rank them, let's get rid of the Burke.
It's going to be that, and then...
Then it starts to get a bit tricky, right?
And then these two. In fact, that would be how I'd have it.
Right, interesting.
And that's what I've seen in fits as well, funny enough, of these two, yeah.
Have you done much testing with the 3D printed one?
A bit, yeah.
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 You've found it to be better?
Slightly better, yeah. I just found it a lot more even, yeah, like similar to how I thought on there. But yeah, never had any luck with a power or as much.
No, I'm the same. So there you have it. 3D printed saddles are better for the most part, as long as it's not power shaped. Sorry, Specialized. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Dan for helping us out today. If you'd like to see more of Dan on this channel, I think we all would, stick a comment in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you for the next one.